Well, as you all can see, Tara and I made it to the desert. This was not the plan this week. We actually were going to be up in the mountains of Colorado, exploring some of the leaves changing as fall really kicks off out here in early September. But the place that we were going to stay and eventually go hike later this week ended up having forecasted rain and clouds and just not ideal weather, especially living in a car with a dog. So I decided, instead of heading all the way back to Denver, which would have been about 3.5 to 4 hours, to drive about 2 hours to come to Moab. And while we are going to go on some adventures this week, that is the plan. Wow. This hair. First, I have so much schoolwork to get done, and if you guys will remember, a couple of weeks ago, I think I mentioned I went back to grad school. Now, this program is fully remote, which is part of the reason why I chose it, because we will be getting back on the road, and it allows me to do my schoolwork from anywhere, which is really nice, but also comes with some complications, as I'm sure we're gonna run into today, because things just always seem to happen out here. But I figured I'd take you through what a day in my life is with a school-heavy, work-heavy day out on the road, because it's not always just adventures. When you're living out here full-time, which I'm not yet quite full-time back out here yet, but in about a week and a half we will be, things don't look the same as they did when we're in an apartment. Alright, well, Tara chases birds to her heart's content, and before it gets too windy, because today it's projected to get above 40 miles per hour, I'm gonna let her hang out outside, and I just set up my working space for today. Honestly, I don't know how I would get anything done on the road, especially because I don't have like an awning or anything to sit under outside. It's really difficult to see the computer outside during the day. It's also really hot, really exposed to all the elements, the wind, all of that good stuff, especially when you're out here in the desert or on a rainy day, the rain for example. So I've just holed up in here. I have this little desk setup that I've shown a couple of times on the channel, me either using it or building it. It's very simple, just some paracord and a piece of, I think this is just maple. And then up here in the front, this is the control center. So I have my Bluetti, I have my Starlink, which is my internet. That is all set up outside as well. So we have a 350 watt solar panel, my Starlink, all of that run through the front car area there. And then I even have here everything hooked in here. So my external drive, computer is charging. And out here, especially with the amount of sunlight that is in the desert and we're currently pulling on our panels, I can be running my Starlink, charging my phone. I'm gonna charge the camera up in a few minutes while I settle into some work. My computer all day and never have to worry about actually running out of power, which is really important when it comes to deadlines, things being due, and just being able to get my work done confidently throughout the day. All of that said, I'm going to go ahead and start my day by wrapping up a video that needed to go up yesterday, but with all of the travel that we unexpectedly did is a little bit late. So I'm gonna finish this and then I'll go ahead and dig into my schoolwork for the day. Holy smokes, guys. It is 11:30 and I'm just now hitting export on that video. I'm sweaty. It is hot in here. Tara is outside under the car in the breeze, which means she's probably way cooler than I am and swatting far fewer flies. But I think once this finishes exporting, I'm gonna go ahead and upload it since I already have Starlink set up. And then we're gonna take a midday break. I found this water hole that I think is going to be dog friendly and accessible today, especially because it's a Monday. There shouldn't really be anybody there, and maybe we can go take a quick midday dip, have some lunch, and then find a cooler place to settle in for the night so I can get the rest of my work done without just absolutely drenching myself in sweat. While we drive to the little water swimming hole that I'm really hoping is open and not completely crowded out, let's talk a little bit more about why I stayed at camp until it was almost 90 degrees today. It is now 12:30 in the afternoon, and I made the decision very specifically because working from the road means a couple things, but at the end of the day, without power, I can't do my job, I can't go to school, I can't do much of anything productive as far as my income and my livelihood goes. Now, if you've been here for any stretch of time, you've already heard me talk at length about Bluetti, but today I'm going to be talking to you more about the Bluetti AC 180p that I very recently got and has been an absolute game changer in terms of portable power while car camping. Like other Bluetti stations, the 180p is able to recharge in three main ways. One, you can recharge it off of an AC outlet, so like before I leave home on a big trip, I always make sure that it's at 100%. While I'm out on a trip, especially with good, sandy pit, with good sunny weather, I always have my 350 watt solar panel out. And when I'm driving, like right now, it's plugged into the car's cigarette lighter, which is charging off of the alternator. And I apologize, this road is so rough right now. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. But on days like today, in just a matter of 4 or 5 hours of sunlight, I can go from a measly 40% all the way up to 85% with just the power of the sun. And for me, that's the difference between making money and publishing videos and sitting here twiddling my thumbs. Okay, we have turned around because it's better to be safe than stuck, right? But back on the topic of Bluetti, I would not be able to get out on adventures like these where I'm questioning if the road's even gonna hold the car without the power of Starlink. And in the past, I really had to stick with the more well-trodden, popular routes, camping around a bunch of people and not being able to push the limits of where I could take us. But now with Starlink and the power of Bluetti, which without my Starlink would not run, I'm able to get out so much further, so much more often than ever before. And with little upgrades like the Dometic fridge, Tara and I are well on our way to being overlanders, one might say. That might be pushing it in the Subaru. But at the end of the day, I really do owe many of our adventures, especially the recent ones in the Subaru, where we don't have any additional sources of power, to Bluetti, which today I'm using in a variety of ways. As you've already seen, it's what's powering my Starlink. drink, as mentioned. It's also the thing that is keeping all of our food in the Dometic icy cold for when we get back from the river. And at night, it allows me to recharge all of my electronics and turn on my lovely little twinkly lights. So that way we not only can see what we're doing in the evenings, but so that way we wake up with power in the morning. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Thank you. Thanks. Well, it feels like today is in some ways like the last day of summer as we get ready to head back to Denver before heading to California in like 2 weeks. And it's still warm out. We just went for a swim in the river and I figured we would cap off a good summer with some ice cream. I think Tara's gonna love it. You ready? What do you think? Do you like it? Want some more? Oh, ice cream. Good job. Well, happy end of summer to us. Unfortunately, the weather has really turned and I took a look at the forecast through tomorrow as well, and the wind is only going to increase, which means we cannot use solar, we can't be outside. Tara would just get sandblasted, so we're both gonna have to sit in the car, and it's gonna be above 80 again, which is just really not realistic. And ultimately, we eventually have to go home anyways because, spoiler, we're gonna be getting back on the road semi-full time in about 2 weeks as I head back home to California for the holidays. So I think the best course of action right now is to start making our way back to Colorado and see if we can find a site where we can stop later in the afternoon where it's not pouring rain and it's not super windy, so I can actually get my work done, since it's now after 2 o'clock and I haven't even started any of that, which I guess is true to grad school form. It's really night owl, do it as you can work, but I'd rather not stay up super late trying to get it done. So I'm gonna finish this and we're gonna get back on the road.
You know, you can always say to someone, look, maybe it's partly my stuff because I've had a lot of, you know, pain in this area.
Understandably, I've gotten a lot of questions recently about what the heck I'm actually going to school for and how I plan on doing it from the road. But I think we need to start with the reason I originally moved to Denver, the reason I chose Denver, I should say. I was looking to get off the road, but I chose Denver because, of course, it's always better when you can be in person. There's networking events, there's peer events, there's job fairs, there's career development opportunities, a whole bunch of things that led me to choose to move to Denver, because this program is at CU Boulder in Boulder, Colorado, which is not the same place but close enough to be commutable, especially on an irregular basis. But the program name itself, I'm getting my master's in outdoor recreation economy and I'm specializing in 2 track options. There's, I think, 5 total options, but I'm doing sustainable business and DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. This week, this semester, I'm focusing mainly on some introductory courses and my sustainable business portion of my master's degree. And so this week I have 2 bigger assignments due. I have things due every single week, as well as lectures and things that I have to read and a whole bunch of other stuff to check off. But this week I'm doing 2 different papers that are due at the end of the week, which is why I'm a little bit stressed about timing. One on the analysis of corporate sustainability within an outdoor brand. I think I'm going to do Fjallraven because I just really look up to them. I'm impressed by them, and I'm also interested to learn more about their sustainability practices. And then the other assignment is actually going to be done on analyzing the impacts that we have had on public lands, we being the overlanding / van life / outdoor community, have had on public lands since the pandemic, and potential suggestions for mitigation solutions moving forward, so that way folks can continue to enjoy and recreate on the land that we all love without destroying it even further. What can we do to try to mitigate some of the impacts that we all have, myself included? As you'll hear from those 2 assignment topics, this is why I chose this program, because it feels like a natural step into my future career, which hopefully will still be in the outdoor rec economy or outdoor industry. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet, whether it's me running my own business, still doing video work potentially, but for sustainable brands, for example, or for outdoor industry brands, or if I'm going to go work for somebody else. But this program is allowing me to explore all of that through my own passions, which feels very relevant and I guess just cohesive to my lifestyle. Hopefully that answers some of your questions. I know there's been a lot and it's hard to just type that out into a single YouTube comment response. But if you guys have any more questions about the program, about why I'm going to school, drop them in the comments down below and I'll be happy to continue the conversation down there as well.
May be enhanced by strengthening relationships with customers and employees, distinguishing itself further from competition, or aligning strategy with the company's mission. So the end goal is ensuring that Fairphones are returned completely recycled at the end of their lives. So in this way, by closing the loop, what Fairphone is doing is creating new markets with refurbished products or recycled materials, environmental footprint. And when we think about the circular economy, probably environmental value.
I think the most difficult part of this program for me so far has been managing work, travel, and school, unsurprisingly. But it's not because of the program necessarily, it's because I'm just out of practice with scheduling my life around due dates and deadlines that other people set. So I'm curious to see how it's gonna go. I just finished 2 discussion question assignments, not my 2 assignments, but these were the things I needed to get done that are due earlier this week and are the little guys that I just wanted to knock out. I'm so grateful that I charged everything this morning at camp and stayed as long as we did, even though we ended up doing so much driving, because I would not have had any power tonight had I not. We still have 84% on the Bluetti, which when I turn off Starlink for the night, because I don't need it when I'm asleep, is going to be plenty for the morning because it's going to be raining again. So I need all the juice that I can get to keep working on this in the morning to actually get ahead on some of my assignments before it starts raining. So on that note, I'm going to go to bed early. It's only 9:15. But as soon as the sun goes down, when I'm in the car and all I have are these little twinkly lights, I'm out. So on that note, good night. Good morning, sweet. Hi. I don't. Good morning.
The following presentations in this section of the module are going to examine some of the benefits that can result from investment in tourism and outdoor recreation from a community economic development perspective. However, for those not in a position to own a home, it can have negative social consequences as rental availability and prices rise. If a destination is to attract a number of second homeowners and investors, also the diversity of jobs is important. So what are the range of sectors they might cover, as well as wages paid? Now, tourism and outdoor recreation provide direct employment, those jobs that result directly from visitor expenditure. such as a tour guide or a bike rental shop employee. Also provides indirect employment, so those jobs that are still associated with tourism and outdoor recreation but do not result directly from visitor expenditure. In total, 1,460 jobs, which brings in 41.1 million in labour income annually. And also that tourism is highly seasonal and can contribute to fluctuations in employment, specialist skills and knowledge, and therefore command a higher wage. Furthermore, there are a lot of outdoor-related companies in IT, marketing, customer service, procurement, design, insurance, law, and so forth.
Well, 2 lectures into the day already, and I feel like I've accomplished what I came out to do, and that was to test how doing grad school from the road was actually going to go. Now, obviously, Tara and I are not going to be living in the Subaru long term. We do have a couple week trip coming up as I head back out west to be with family for a couple of months, which I am looking forward to, although it's definitely going to be a change in routine. And I just needed to figure out how the heck I was going to do this. Is the power system I have going to be enough? Yes. Is Starlink going to work reliably? For the most part, yeah, it did. Is the setup in the car going to be adequate on bad weather days? We've definitely tested that, and I think that's something that I'd like to refine even more. Maybe I'll get an awning for the side so we can sit out in the rain. I'm going to figure out something, I think, to expand the living space so that way I'm not just laying on my stomach in bed all the time doing schoolwork. Because I'm not going to lie, my lower back kind of hurts from doing that last night. But I think ultimately what I really am going to have to do is come up with a system and a schedule for myself to stay on task. This week, as you guys saw in my journal earlier in this video, I have multiple discussions, multiple assignments. I have some of my grad student assistantship work in addition to being on the road, creating videos, and my full-time job. So it's definitely a lot to balance, but I put myself in this situation and I know that I can handle it. It's just going to take a couple of days, I think, to work out the kinks, and then we should be on the road running. One last thing before we go, I'll just insert a graphic here. I am so psyched about the performance of the AC180P from Bluetti. It has outperformed my wildest dreams, especially for how small and compact of a system it is. In the past, when I was in a bigger vehicle, I had bigger units and they were great for that time and that, I guess, era of my life. But now that I'm in such a small vehicle, it was getting a little bit difficult to store, take in, take out those big stations. And so even though this one's a lot smaller, at first I was worried about its capacity. It has outperformed my wildest dreams. It's been able to easily power all of my internet needs, even when we've had bad weather. And that's thanks to the variety of ways that I'm able to charge it, like I mentioned earlier. When we get on the road more full time or for these couple weeks ahead, I'll also have some of my at-home chargers with me because I won't be in the apartment. So I'm gonna have my wall outlet to be able to go to parks, cafes, breweries, to go plug into the wall and charge it rapidly. So I won't have to leave an area necessarily because of bad weather and the need for power, which I'm really looking forward to. All said, thank you so much Bluetti for sponsoring today's video. Head to the link down in the description down below to check out the Bluetti AC180P, their PV350 system, which is what I'm currently using, or any of their other portable power systems that might help you get where you're going. Thank you Bluetti for sponsoring today's video. Thank you guys all for watching so much. Drop your comments for me down below if you have any questions about grad school, how I'm going to manage it, my degree program, or if you're interested in it yourself. I'm more than happy to share more information about what I'm doing. And until next time, I hope you all have a great week and we'll see you so soon. So much is changing in the next couple of weeks and I'm excited to share more about that when we get there.